Hello everybody, continuing with this honoring, we could even say it's a memorial for Ruth Ginsburg. And the piece that I put together, for this, if you can look right down here, I created this. What I have there, along with her photo, is you see this horse. I've replicated this from an ancient shrine in Greece, and that is in the Peloponnese. And this is actually representing the black horse, queen of the people we call the Amazons, the First Nations, women's nation of the Mediterranean. And Melenepi is who this represents, that is the Black Horse Queen. I'm going to say that that's what her name is. Now the Amazons is a name, is a kind of a squishy name, but it's become so much used that we just kind of continue with it. To start off with, basically everybody knows the Amazons is referring to women warriors in particular in the Mediterranean, in particular in the Eastern Mediterranean, but there's far more to it than that. I don't remember the exact pronunciation because the Greeks have kind of screwed up that name, but basically what these women refer to themselves is mothers, daughters. And so we kind of stay with that idea, through it all. These women were throughout the Mediterranean. To understand that the Mediterranean, first of all, is a woman's world, or a feminine world, or a goddess world. The Mediterranean itself was her uterus. And eventually, male or men or their gods and ideas invaded into that world. And women who still continued to live there and carry on as culture and defense have become called the Amazons. And that's the way we think of them. And the queens, they're trying to use these names awkwardly. I could say the navel or the capital of this woman's world was in Crete, or the now Libya in North Africa. So the eponymous name for that was actually Themyscira. Themyscira actually is named after Themis. Themis is the goddess of justice and law. So kind of really see how that actually figures in both to the theme of the courage of the woman's nation and the woman who, for us all now, best represents that. It has represented that for women everywhere, and everywhere that they are saying so. I have here a figure of a woman on a horse. Now the Peloponnese, you've heard of Helen of Troy. She should be called Helen of Sparta. Sparta is located in the Peloponnesus, which is the large southern kind of peninsula of Greece and so forth. And this was a very particular place of this first woman's culture. The women living there also were very distinctive in their features. On a TV show that's been a long time running, CSILA, like that, the star actress there, her name is Daniela Rua. She's of Portuguese ancestry. If you ever look at that, she is the spitting image of what these ancient women of the Peloponnese look like. They're kind of long-legged and long-faced and dark, swarthy. So that is an image of them, and they still are among us, we could say that. And one piece that I want to try and put in here with this is this piece here. You can focus on that. This is Chinese. It's from an ancient Chinese tomb, I think 2,000-3,000 years old. It's a ceramic sphere. It's been engraved with curvilinear designs and so forth. And it is a memory sphere, exactly. And that's something that was evidently put into the tomb, so that's what we would call it, a memory sphere. The Japanese name for the Chinese characters is Kyo no Kyoko, sphere of memory. And just to say, I wrote some things about it. Volume, sphere, a perfectly rounded objective consistency of a real object. A rigid yet mobilized image ornament, our innermost body's mimicry of the total. Now, follow this piece is actually rendered from the Chinese. Space, sphere, as movement given, stable, mnemonic, rhythm, line, relief, impression. Correspondence. Death as creature's creation of life, transformation of solidarity as certitude. Mnemonic, round, motion. Interconnected and interassociated, enlightened, nearness and sympathy to creation of continuity, ease, peace, poetis in meditation. And this here, I put this here, this is the kami. This is the kami. She is the kami version of Mnemosyne, the Greek goddess of memory. So she's Hyoko Mikami. So she's in there also. Now the prompt for my main theme here is this painting. I should say my theme is horse. Horse. And over here I have the kanji character Uma for horse. That's for horse. And in this painting is signed by Chikanobu. Chikanobu, this is his signature in his chop. It's about 1750, and he's of the Kano school, which was the atelier of the ruling government, the shogun government at the time, like that. And this is a Zen painting. To see that all of this vast emptiness, this is the invisible and infinite landscape. And everything that can contain is within it. And it is the beyond of these figures. These figures, here is the man, he's writing his poem. And here is the symbolic tree here. And all of this vast emptiness, no kara is the best name in Japan. It means empty. These figures have been emptied of their content so that this emptiness comes through them, and now they are the seizable finite of the infinite, of all this infinite is here in them. And here, this is the horse. And the horse is rearing up. And you can just look here for a minute, this figure, which is also from China, to show what this horse is doing. And it's raising up a no karai, meaning edifice. It's on a border, and this is to enter in. So he's rising up as a signal. The horse is a signal to begin the process of symbolizing. Before we symbolize, processionally, something starts us. So that's what we're calling. The horse is the signal for that to begin. And that's the way that it is going to evolve. This is Zen painting. It's both Zen, Buddhism, and Taoist, like that. So it's not just a picture of something in somebody. It's really a teaching of there is a beyond, there is a border to cross, there is a way that it signals that, so that the symbolization process begins to evolve in all of this. And in these paintings that have come from China, originated in China, and this school, the Kano school, which is 300 or 400 years old by this time, sees all of the paintings that are imported from China into Japan. And I have the painting of this man's father from 1701, who was given the Dharma eye by the emperor because of seeing all of these paintings, and they categorize them and judge their value. And in this case, there's a theme, and this theme is a Chinese poet. And this, what I'm going to read, is his poem from Tofu of the beginning of the 8th century, for which this painting is figuring. It's actually figuring this poem of Tofu. Jade Flower Palace. The stream swirls, the wind moans in the pines, rats scurry over broken tiles. What prince long ago built this palace, standing in ruins beside the cliffs? There are green ghost fires in the black rooms. The shattered pavements are all washed away. 10,000 organ pipes whistle and roar. The storm scatters the red autumn leaves. His dancing girls are yellow dust. Their painted cheeks have crumbled away. His gold chariots and courtiers are gone. What remains? Only a stone horse is left of his glory. I sit on the grass and start a poem, but the pathos of it overcomes me. The future slips away. Who can say what the years will bring? Poetry and letters persist in silence and solitude. A single wild goose climbs into the void. Now, to go along with that, I think that's all rather self-explanatory. This is an ancient Chinese horse. This is probably 1,500 years ago or something like that, the Han Dynasty. It is a funerary piece itself. And people who immigrated from the mainland over to Japan, they have their own cultural identity, but they sort of, imitated this. They did also make their own versions of horses for the tombs, only in the case in Japan, their figures, like the Haniwa figures I've been showing you, are placed on the outside of the tomb, not on the inside. But that's a genuine such piece there. And you want to know that what the horseshoe is in this signaling. It's a shift to their side. In Daowan's teaching, the shift of the assemblage point, which changes the perception. And at that, this is the model of that change. It's a linear curve. It's actually called that. And that's what the horseshoe in this context is definitely signaling. It symbolizes that. I have another poem. This will be from Japan, and get her name here, Taguchi Masako. She must be about 70 years old when she wrote this. She must have passed away by now. Anyway, Blue Horse. Sunken murmurs rise from the sea bottom, where you can see a horse through a trough of the waves. blind in both eyes. A blue horse plodding along the sea bottom. The memory of men that had ridden on his back almost gone. How long has this horse lived in the sea? There's blood splashed on its back. Is it its own? If not, whose is it? It plods on, brushing aside the seaweed with its forelegs. Its blind eyes steadily turn to an indigo blue, deeper, far, and lonelier than the blue of the sea. Blood oozes from its wound in the wash of the sea as carried away from wave to wave. When autumn comes, a cold, thick fog rises from the sea. At that time, the horse crouches alone, its legs folded under it in the shadow of the rocks at the bottom of the sea, enduring the cold, waiting there for the men to gather in harmony, to graze like the sheep and the fawns. You need to have a blue horse here. This poem is going to be by Mary Oliver. It's for Franz Marc. He's an early modern painter, German. Blue, like a blue horse, is definitely poetic. Marc Chagall is another one who, in his paintings, you'll see a blue horse or two, like that. And so I just take it naturally, since you go and say a blue horse, you're saying a poetic horse. Put it that way. And so this is Mary Oliver's poem, Franz Marc's Blue Horses. I step into the painting of the 4 blue horses. I'm not even surprised that I can do this. One of the horses walks toward me. His blue nose noses me lightly. I put my arm over his blue mane, not holding on, just commingling. He allows me my pleasure. Franz Marc died a young man, shrapnel in his brain. I would rather die than try to explain to the blue horses what war is. They would either faint in horror or simply find it impossible to believe. I do not know how to thank you, Franz Marc. Maybe our world will grow kinder eventually. Maybe the desire to make something beautiful is the piece of her that is in each side of us. Now all 4 horses have come closer, are bending their faces toward me, as if they have secrets to tell. I don't expect them to speak, and they don't. If being so beautiful isn't enough, what could they possibly say? Oh, motions of tenderness.